She packed a bag for the weekend, planning to run away with my best friend, but she forgot one important thing. I was no longer the man who would beg her to stay. I had become the man who would make her regret every minute she spent cheating on me. When she walked into the last dinner I had planned, smiling as if nothing had happened, she had no idea that her actions would soon destroy everything she held dear. It all started like a normal Saturday morning. The smell of cinnamon rolls filled our open kitchen, and birds chirped outside the open window. I had the day off, but she didn't. At least, that's what she said. I slowly poured my coffee, my heart beating like crazy, even though I tried to hide it. I had already read the text messages she didn't want me to see. Melissa, my wife of 6 years, sat across from me at the kitchen table, looking at her phone. Her fingers moved too fast for someone who hadn't even kissed me goodbye. Then she spoke. "You know, Daniel," she said, without looking up from her phone, "I believe we need to break up. I'm going away for the weekend, to figure things out. Alone." I nodded. Alone. Then, for the first time in months, she met my gaze, and for the first time, her expression was sincere, but not in the way she believed it to be. "I'm going with Travis," she added casually, as if explaining something trivial. "Travis is my best friend since college, the best man at our wedding, my fishing buddy. He's going with me," she added, as if remembering something. I sat there silently, thinking it all through. I didn't get angry or cry. I didn't rush after her or even blink. I just said, "You've started something you don't understand, but you will." She didn't understand, and couldn't know, that I had already put all the pieces together. I had seen the Uber receipts with Travis's address, the hotel reservations under her business card, and the photos from the cloud storage she had forgotten I had access to. I had recordings from the camera in the guest room, IME messages synced to my iPad, and proof of everything. I locked myself in my home office, sat down, and opened a folder labeled Firestorm. Inside, everything was carefully preserved. Text messages, emails, photos, receipts. I had already spoken to my lawyer, a Chicago divorce attorney specializing in no alimony cases. This wasn't going to be just a divorce. It was going to be a public dismemberment of Melissa and Travis. Melissa and I had once been inseparable. I met her at a jazz bar in Austin. We reached for the last bar stool at the same time. She laughed at my sarcasm, and I fell in love with her laugh. She was magnetic, smart, sassy, and full of life. But after she got promoted, something changed. She started calling herself a brand, and suddenly I was just background noise to her. She started responding to my messages less often. Her phone was always on silent, and she came home smelling like perfume that wasn't mine. The worst part was the silence, the growing absence. Her body was still in our bed, but her heart was somewhere else. That somewhere else was Travis, a friend I called my brother. Travis was everything I wasn't. Loud, flirtatious, the life of the party. He thrived on chaos and female attention. I even covered for him once when his girlfriend suspected him of cheating. I believed he was just wild, but I didn't know he was a predator lurking in my own home. I set up guest Wi-Fi for friends, but it turned out that Travis was using it during his nighttime sessions with Melissa. His MacBook left digital traces, encrypted folders, strange data transfers, and even a video titled Cherry Night. The video made me sick. There was Melissa in our guest room, which I had built with my own hands. Her laughter wasn't fake. The betrayal was clear. The first blow came quickly. I sent her hotel bills to HR, along with screenshots of her calling her boss a useless parasite. I forwarded Travis's side work folder, private massage appointments disguised as a spa, to his employer's compliance department. One email, and her world began to crumble. I wasn't sending hate, just the truth. By Monday, Melissa had been removed from her company's Women in Leadership Slack channel. Her best friend Lisa blocked her. Travis's girlfriend, who knew nothing, called me in tears. I didn't stop there. I had something better for them. While Melissa spent the weekend with Travis, I sat on the patio, drinking whiskey and feeling strangely energized. Everything around me seemed perfectly staged, like an exhibition hall that looks beautiful but is empty inside. I believed I would be crushed, but it didn't happen. I felt more alive than I had in years. I wasn't alone. Logan, my childhood friend and former colleague, had flown in last week. He wasn't just visiting. I had asked him to be my secret witness. That evening, I handed him a flash drive labeled Action Plan. He sat silently, watching the first few videos, his jaw clenched and his fingers pressed against his forehead. "God, Danny, this is war," he muttered. "No," I replied. "This is justice." Melissa and Travis were still at the cabin, unaware of the storm I was unleashing. I wasn't stalking them. They were just too stupid to cover their tracks. Melissa was posting selfies with wine, captioning them with healing energy and vague references to self-reflection. Travis posted a boomerang of her holding a glass of champagne. Her engagement ring was conspicuously absent. I wasn't looking for revenge. I wanted to expose them, to let everyone know exactly who they were. I sent the photo of them kissing in front of the hot tub to Melissa's mother with a short message. "I hope she's safe. She told me she was going on a solo vacation." I didn't yell or swear. I just dropped hints. Then I forwarded a video of Travis bragging about hooking up with his best friend's wife to a mutual friend, a colleague who once told me, "I trust you more than I trust Travis." On Sunday, that same friend texted me, "Hey, do you know what he's been saying about you, about Melissa?" I just replied with a smiley face, knowing that it would all come crashing down for them soon. Melissa and Travis checked out of the hotel on Sunday morning. I already knew which card she was going to use, our joint travel card, but I had blocked it 2 days earlier. They called the hotel twice from the room and then came to the reception desk. Thanks to a favor I had done for the manager last year, I was able to remotely view the CCTV footage. Melissa blushed with embarrassment when the concierge asked, "Do you have another way to pay?" Travis nervously rummaged through his wallet, but his card was declined. They argued loudly in front of the newlyweds and the concierge. I didn't want revenge. I wanted them to understand that they had lost. I wanted them to know there was no way out. When we got home, she burst through the door, threw her bag down, and frowned. "You blocked my card. You lied to my face." I didn't respond. I was calm, collected, but my voice was cold. "I saw everything. I know everything. This isn't a conversation, it's documentation." She tried to act casual. "You wouldn't dare do anything. You're too emotional. That's why I'm tired of you." I didn't flinch. "Have you ever heard a soldier scream before pulling the trigger?" She flinched slightly. That was enough. Later that evening, she started texting our friends, portraying me as unstable. She said I was losing it and that she didn't feel safe. But I was already ahead of her. My lawyer had filed the initial divorce papers. The judge had already checked our assets, and our joint accounts were frozen. Her leased car, which was in my name, was repossessed. By the time she realized what was happening, it was too late. The next day, Travis texted me, "Hey man, I believe we need to talk like adults." I took a screenshot of the message and sent it along with the rest of the evidence to his boss. The message contained evidence of questionable business practices, candid remarks about clients, and Melissa's name, which appeared repeatedly in the files. I watched her from the window as she paced around the backyard with her phone pressed to her ear. She looked like a hunted animal. For the first time in months, I allowed myself to smile. The turning point came when Melissa's best friend, Chelsea, who had always been intuitive, called me in tears. "You don't deserve this," she said. "She told me you cheated on her, that you pushed her away, but now I see the truth. She made herself out to be the victim." Chelsea sent Melissa a screenshot of our conversation and blocked her. The lies she had woven began to unravel, one person at a time. Friends started calling me, asking how I was doing. Her book club kicked her out. Her boss contacted me to thank me for my discretion and let me know they were dealing with internal issues related to Melissa's behavior. But I hadn't dropped the biggest bomb yet. The dinner invitations had already been sent out, using her tone, her phrases, her digital voice. And when the time came, everyone would know the truth. Through email correspondence, Daniel and I gradually worked through our issues. We decided to host an evening dedicated to truth, forgiveness, and closure. We wanted to heal together. The guest list was finalized, including her parents, her boss, Travis, her supervisor, our closest friends, and even 2 people who had been avoiding me for weeks. They responded with simple messages like, "Glad to hear you're healing. See you there." She had no idea what was in store for her. That evening, she came home humming as if she had just won some kind of battle. I poured her a glass of wine. When she raised an eyebrow and asked what it was for, I simply replied, "To a new beginning." When she went to take a shower, I opened a folder on my laptop called Revelation and clicked Export. When dinner time rolled around, everything was ready. The table was beautifully set. The private chef I had hired was putting the finishing touches on the meal, and soft music was playing in the background. Every detail had been carefully chosen to create a warm and intimate atmosphere, as if 2 people were trying to heal their wounds. Melissa walked in wearing a bright red dress and a forced smile. "Wow," she whispered, looking around. "You really did this?" I smiled back. "We're just getting started." She didn't ask any questions. She was too focused on looking perfect. Travis arrived 5 minutes later, his hair styled and wearing so much cologne that you could smell him before he even entered the house. He put his arm around her as they walked in, as if he had every right to touch her in my house. Guests began to arrive. Melissa's parents, our friends, Travis's manager, and her boss from work. Everyone exchanged hugs, smiles, and pleasantries. No one suspected a thing. Dinner went smoothly, laughter, compliments, and toasts. At one point, Melissa leaned over to me and whispered, "I knew you'd calm down eventually." I didn't respond. After dessert, I stood up and tapped my glass. "Before we end this wonderful evening, Melissa and I want to share something special with you, a short video in honor of the truth." She looked confused. Some of the guests applauded politely. The lights dimmed and the screen came to life. The first slide showed Melissa and Travis kissing in a hot tub at a cabin. The second was a screenshot of her message. "Daniel is boring, and Travis makes me feel alive." There were gasps in the room. The third was a video of Travis sneaking into our backyard at 2 a.m. The fourth was an audio recording of Melissa's voice from the kitchen. "If he ever finds out I'm going to cry, he always gives in when I cry." The atmosphere in the room changed. Her mother covered her mouth with her hand. Her boss stood up, and one of her friends shouted, "You lied to HR! You told me Daniel was beating you! I defended you!" Travis rushed toward the console, but Logan stood in front of him. "Sit down," he said sharply. Travis hesitated, but then slowly sank into a chair, his face red, trying not to look at his manager, who was texting under the table. Melissa sat frozen, her jaw clenched and her hands shaking. Finally, I looked at her and said, "You once told me, I give up when you cry. But today I'm standing here and you're giving up." The silence after the last clip was suffocating, like a vacuum sucking every breath and sound out of the room. No one reached for their wine glasses. No one moved. Melissa's lipstick looked too bright in the dim light. Her hands lay motionless on her knees, as if she didn't know what to do with them. Travis finally stood up, cleared his throat, trying to look like a victim. "It was a trap," he muttered. "That's illegal. You can't show personal belongings." Logan's voice cut through the tension. "Sit down before you embarrass yourself even more." Travis froze, but finally sat down, trying not to look at the others. Melissa finally spoke, her voice trembling. "I can explain everything." Her boss interrupted her. I hope that's true, because we've already started investigating your behavior, and now I can see exactly what kind of person you've become." Her mother shook her head, her eyes filled with pain. "You told us he was dangerous, that he cheated on you, that he broke your heart." Melissa turned to me, her voice trembling. "Daniel, please." I stood motionless, staring at her. "You lied to everyone and believed that I wouldn't have the strength to show them the truth. All I had to do was press play." The party quickly dispersed. One by one, the guests began to say goodbye. Some left without saying a word. Others squeezed my shoulder in silent support. Melissa didn't move, until the door closed behind the last guest and all that could be heard was the clinking of empty glasses. She slowly stood up and said, "You destroyed me." Her voice was fragile. "No," I replied. "You did that to yourself. I just let everyone see what was already there." I laughed bitterly. "I made one mistake," I added. "I laughed once." "You destroyed me," she whispered. "My job, my friends. My parents won't even answer my calls. You said I give up when I cry. Well, cry all you want. I won't give up." She blinked, stunned. I left her standing in the living room and went upstairs. I couldn't sleep that night. I didn't need to. I sat by the window in our bedroom, watching the rain run down the glass, thinking about all the little things she had taken from me, my peace, my trust, my laughter, and how I had taken something much bigger from her in return. The next week was even worse for her. Melissa was fired from her job, effective immediately. Her boss cited ethical concerns and damage to the company's reputation. As for Travis, his company launched an investigation into misconduct after the video I shared revealed more than just his affair. It turned out he had a side business involving some of his company's clients. Human Resources didn't look kindly on that. He quietly resigned before they could bring formal charges, but the scandal followed him. A month later, he tried to get a job in Dallas, but the internet had already done its work. Screenshots from that dinner were shared online. A copy of the slideshow ended up on a small blog. That was enough. His offer was withdrawn. Melissa sent me several emails, first apologizing, then accusing me, then begging. She even threatened legal action, but my lawyer got there first. In her last message, she simply wrote, "You destroyed me." I didn't respond, not out of cruelty, but because I didn't want to look back. I had already signed the divorce papers. No alimony, no property disputes, no protracted legal battles. Everything worked out in my favor. She didn't have a single argument. 3 weeks after that dinner, a silence I had never experienced before finally descended on the house. Not emptiness, not void, just calm. I walked around the house as if I were learning to breathe again in my own space, without the tension that had once lurked in every corner. No more pretending, no more tiptoeing. Her perfume was gone from the closet. Her framed photos were gone from the hallway. Even the coffee mugs we had fought over were gone. I replaced them with 2 sturdy ones I chose for myself. The house no longer felt cursed. It felt honest. Logan stayed a little longer. He helped me turn the dusty guest room into a small home gym. Therapy in the form of sweat and sawdust. We worked side by side in silence, occasionally laughing at something silly or reminiscing about better days. Once, as we were attaching a dumbbell rack to the wall, Logan looked at me and said, "You're not angry anymore." I froze and replied, "No, I'm not angry." He nodded. "Good. Because that woman didn't just cheat on you. She erased you." His words stuck with me because they were true. Melissa didn't just break our vows. She tried to rewrite my identity for everyone. She made me the villain in her story so she could look like the victim. She almost succeeded, but I didn't let her. She called me once after everything had settled down. I didn't answer. She left a voicemail. Her voice was soft, almost unrecognizable. "Daniel, you really loved me, didn't you? I only realize that now. I'm sorry. I truly regret it." Then there was silence. She never called again. As for Travis, he disappeared from social media. Rumor has it that he moved in with his brother near Boise. No car, no steady job. No one answered his calls. His reputation followed him everywhere like a curse with a return address. I didn't gloat over their downfall. I didn't post anything. I didn't gloat. I didn't try to keep the story alive. I didn't need to. Revenge had already achieved its goal, not in a loud, chaotic storm, but in a quiet correction. True revenge doesn't always look like chaos. Sometimes it looks like peace. It looks like me standing in my renovated kitchen, pouring coffee with steady hands, knowing that I never stooped to their level. It looks like healing, slow, day by day, without applause. It looks like meeting a new person, honest and kind, who didn't need to be impressed or conquered, just understood. We met at a hardware store. She asked if I knew anything about paint thinner. I said I knew more about wall restoration. We laughed. She didn't ask about Melissa. She just listened when I talked. Her name is Claire. She's a nurse, gentle and genuine, the kind who asks how your day was and really means it. We go hiking, cook breakfast together. She doesn't post our life online, she just lives it with me. One night, she asked me if I missed the life I used to have. I thought about it and said, no, because that wasn't a life. It was a performance. Melissa once said, you always give in when I cry. But not this time. This time she's crying alone, and I'm sleeping peacefully.